Mox.
He's old, he's fat, he hasn't been laid in years.
Oh! Mox-o-Meter.
Hey guys, John's back with another edition of the Mox-o-Meter. And on this episode of the Meter, I talk about my guilty pleasures of 2010. Last week I talked about the worst movies of 2010, so now we're getting more and more positive as we end with my top 20 later this week, right before the Oscars. So what is a guilty pleasure to me? Guilty pleasure is just a movie. It's not going to win any more awards. It's not going to, make a statement or anything. It's just a movie that goes out there and has fun. It knows that it's cheesy, or it knows that it's it's nothing more than what it is, a 90-minute or so piece of entertainment, and it kind of just has you leave the theater with a smile. It can be anything. It can be an action movie like Triple X or Deep Blue Sea. It could be a horror movie like My Bloody Valentine, or it could be a comedy like Euro Trip. It's just it is what it is, and you enjoy watching it, and you just you have a smile on your face. So, guilty pleasures can go either way. It could be a guilty pleasure to me, and then to some of you guys, you might think this is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. I guess it's just, what each person's opinion. So, sit back and enjoy. And these are my top 5 guilty pleasures of 2010. At number 5, we have From Paris with Love, which starred John Travolta and Jonathan Rhys-Meyers, and was directed by Pierre Morel, who directed Taken, which was an excellent movie, and has directed a few French action movies with producer Luc Besson, who went on and did The Fifth Element and The Professional, those movies. And so, the thing about From Paris with Love is it is completely unrealistic. It's completely over the top, but yet you kind of watch it with a smile. And I think a lot of it has to do with John Travolta. You can tell he's just over the top in this movie, completely just outrageous. And it's a shoot first before talking movie, so people are shot really quick. There's a lot of blood, there's a lot of car chases, and there's just it's completely just outlandish, but it's just a lot of fun just watching it. And John Travolta, he has the same, he wears this scarf, which never, for whatever, he can be in any kind of fight whatsoever, and the scarf never moves an inch. And Jonathan Rhys-Meyers basically plays his straight man. And so basically it's about this American agent that comes into Paris. He meets up with a budding young agent, and they team up to stop a drug deal and a terrorist attack in Paris. So that's really all it is, and it's just basically one gun scene to fight scene to car chase after another. And it's really all it is. I mean, the characters are, kind of thin, and but who cares? It was a lot of fun, and John Travolta was great in it. So if you haven't seen it and don't have the highest of expectations, I highly recommend From Paris with Love. It's a fun action flick. Okay, and now at number 4, we have Unstoppable with Denzel Washington and Chris Pine, and it was directed by Tony Scott, who has been around for a while. Brother director Ridley Scott. Tony's directed Man on Fire, Crimson Tide, Enemy of the State, Deja Vu, Top Gun. So he's been around for a while, and this is his latest action movie with Denzel. He's done a few with him already, and basically it's inspired by a true story. Of course, a true story is not nearly as exciting, but it's inspired by a true story of an unmanned train with hazardous materials that is speeding towards a small Pennsylvania city, and with fear of disaster. These two other engineers, train engineers, try to follow the train to stop it. And that's really all it is. It's a lot of people thought the movie didn't look very good because of the trailer. The trailer was very, generic, and basically everything you've seen in other movies didn't make it really stand out. The thing about the movie was that it was, I think, it was Denzel Washington and Chris Pine play likable characters, and you cheer for them to stop this train, and it's done in a way where you really care about the characters. And the action scenes are done really well. A lot of the movie is, if you see Tony Scott's movies, it's all quick cuts, and a lot of the movie is by the news programs following the train, and it's their cameras and stuff. So it keeps you kind of like it's like you're watching it on like you're watching this live event unfold on TV. So it's a good movie. It's got some good action and likable characters, and I mean it's and it's another one of those don't think about it too hard, just kind of enjoy the ride. And Denzel is his always solid self, and Chris Pine is showing that he is a up and coming actor to watch out for. He's of course got the next Star Trek coming up, and he's taken over as the new Jack Ryan. So give it a look see. And at number 3, we have Hot Tub Time Machine, which starred John Cusack, Rob Corddry, Craig Robinson from The Office, Clark Duke from Superbad and Kick-Ass, and Lindsay Fonseca, who was in Kick-Ass as well, currently on Nikita. So it was directed by Steve Pink, who is friends with John Cusack, and this is their third collaboration after Grosse Pointe Blank and High Fidelity. And I mean, it's just a funny flick. It's these guys go back to the ski lodge of where they had their funnest times as teenagers, and they go back to relive those times, and it's not as nice as it used to be, and so they just kind of just sit and get drunk and have a party, and they get into this hot tub, and basically the tub takes them back to the weekend of that they first were there, where they had the time of their lives. So it's basically they try to undo some of them try to stay on track and do what they like. John Cusack tries to break up with his girlfriend like he did the same exact time, while other people like Rob Corddry think, if I got nothing for me in the future, maybe I can change it and make it better for me now. So it's just a fun movie. It's a gross out humor, like we've seen from the Judd Apatow movies lately, and it's just all likable characters, and it's fun, and it just kind of reminds me of those 80s teen flicks, kind of like Better Off Dead, which John Cusack was in. You got the evil ski instructors in this one, and it's just a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed it a lot. Great performances. I mean, all the guys were really funny, and it's a lot of fun. It left me with a smile on my face afterwards. So that's number 3, Hot Tub Time Machine. All right, at number 2 on my guilty pleasures list is Machete. And for those that don't know about Machete, it started out as a fake trailer on the Robert Rodriguez, Quentin Tarantino flick Grindhouse, and which I really enjoyed a lot. And so now Robert Rodriguez turned it into a full-length movie. And Danny Trejo, of course, is Machete. You've seen him. He's a big tattooed Hispanic guy, and long hair, older, and he's been in a lot of movies, Robert Rodriguez movies, and a lot of B movies and stuff like that. He plays the title role. And then it's got Robert De Niro, Jessica Alba, Steven Seagal, Michelle Rodriguez, Cheech Marin, Lindsay Lohan, Don Johnson. So we filled it up with a lot of these, big stars, as well as these used to be big stars. And basically, it's just a fun movie. It's one of those movies where, it's old Grindhouse, where it's just over the top, old 70s exploitation type flick. Here's this Machete who used to be a federale, and now he's a day laborer, and he gets caught up with this assassination attempt for Robert De Niro's character, and they try to pin it on him, and basically it's just all over the top action and just real funny humor, and it's it's just real cheese. It's real cheese and fun to watch. This is a movie where a girl hides a gun in her private parts. This is a movie where Machete uses when he slices a guy open, he uses his intestines to jump out a window as a rope. I mean, that's the kind of movie this is. You don't take it seriously. You just sit and enjoy the ride. And Robert Rodriguez loves these kind of movies, grew up with these kind of movies. If you watch Desperado and Once Upon a Time in Mexico, a lot of those movies are like that. And they make it fun. And that's what it is. This movie in the end is just an exploitative, cheesy fun fest. And I loved it. I just loved watching it. It's great. It's funny. And, go in there and just expect it's going to be a cult classic one of these days. I mean, I guarantee it. People are going to be talking about this movie for a long time about how fun it is. So there you go. Number 2 was Machete. And my number 1 guilty pleasure of 2010 was Piranha 3D. Now, what do you need to know about Piranha? It's a horror movie, horror comedy, and it's a remake of an old Roger Corman 70s Piranha where you could actually see the string as they were moving the little cardboard piranhas underwater. This one, of course, is complete with CGI piranhas where you can see them growl and make their eyes all beady. And it's just a fun flick. Jerry O'Connell's in it, Elizabeth Shue, Ving Rhames, Christopher Lloyd, Richard Dreyfuss, as well as some other younger actors, Jessica Jor from Gossip Girl. And it's just a fun, bloody horror comedy. I mean, there's really no other way to do it. It's just, totally over the top, totally out of control, just, filled with awful characters that get it in the end, and you're happy to see them get it in the end, and just dumb characters putting themselves in dumb situations, and it's all the things you love about a horror movie, but then it's also very funny. Adam Scott is in it. I forgot to say that Adam Scott is probably the star. Him and Elizabeth Shue are the two main stars, and he's an up and coming guy. He was in Step Brothers, and he's on Parks and Recreation. He's one of those guys that's moving up, and it's a fun flick. Now it's directed by Alexander Aja, who did The Hills Have Eyes. So it is when it does get bad, it is extremely gory. It's about spring break at a lake, basically like a Lake Havasu type place. There's an earthquake, and it releases all these prehistoric piranhas that were underneath the crater, and they come up into this lake. And basically during spring break, it's feeding time for them. So when it hits big time. When these things start attacking all the spring breakers and everything, there's limbs missing, there's faces missing, there's people's privates missing, and it's just all just completely over the top. It's bloody, it's a hard R, bloody language, nudity, drugs, it's everything. It's totally over the top cheese, just like Machete, but in a different way, I guess. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun movie. And if you like horror movies and you like your horror movies to have some comedy in it, then I highly recommend Piranha. I saw it in 3D, and I wish they released it on 3D and DVD with the little blue and red glasses like they did My Bloody Valentine, because I'd really love people to see it in 3D, but they've only released it on Blu-ray 3D, and you have to have a 3D TV and DVD player and all that, and most of us don't have that stuff yet. But I really wish that most people could see this movie in 3D, because that really made it a lot of fun. And so definitely, if you get a chance, give Piranha a try. If you just want to sit back, drink some beer and watch a horror comedy, this is the movie for you. So that's my guilty pleasures. Number 1 was Piranha. Thanks a lot,